There's something really special about making things by hand. The materials are really important. I think that's a lesson learned from traditional Japanese architecture. I grew up with this business. My father started it when I was just a little tyke, so I was always underfoot in the shop. The house was always right next to the shop. There was no separation. And I think Mother liked having him nearby because when she got tired of me being in the house, she'd send me out to the shop. I just kind of absorbed the craft by osmosis because I was around it all the time. I worked under my father from 1970 on. I worked under him for 20 years. I went to high school, and then I went off to college, and then I went off to graduate school. I didn't think I was going to come back, but my father said he was building me a house, and it was too good a thing to refuse. He sent me to architectural school. So I learned how to do, drawings in 3 dimensions. Dad never did that. He just did a really simple freehand sketch, and he would give it and a piece of wood to the guys in the shop. And I said, don't they need more instructions than that? And he says, nah, they know what to do. So when I came in, I started doing more details on the drawings, and I've been doing them ever since. My dad had collected wood ever since he started in the business, but what happened is that pile got bigger and bigger during my dad's lifetime. And after my father passed away, the people who had taken care of our lumber for all those years said, sorry, we need the space, get this lumber out of here. And I thought, what are we going to do with all this stuff? Maybe I should sell it. And then I had second thoughts. I thought, wait a minute. Dad spent his entire lifetime collecting this wood. He knew that it wanted to be something, and that was his legacy. I figured rather than waste it, we should keep on using it, so we still are. Back in the 1980s, Dad found a huge walnut tree that his lumber broker wanted to sell him. And he thought, what am I going to do with this? But he had this dream to make altars for peace. He would make 7 of these peace altars, and they would go to each of the continents of the world. So he made the first one in 1987, and it's installed at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. He was trying very hard to find a place and an institution to receive it in the Soviet Union at the time. And he passed away before he was able to find a place or a person who would collaborate with him. So that was our first project when my father passed away. I just thought it was a continuation of what Dad started. I mean, he was the pioneer. He started making furniture as a protest to mass production, and he thought it was really important to use natural materials and to use hand techniques. We finish everything by hand. The materials are really important. I think that's a lesson learned from traditional Japanese architecture. They would spend years assembling the right wood that would be of appropriate size and character to build their houses. And Dad sort of does the same thing. He couldn't afford to buy the good wood in the beginning, so he learned how to use wood that nobody else wanted. The straight, ordinary, so-called good wood is pretty boring. It doesn't show the growth of the tree, but when you have wood from trees that have fallen down or had adventures during their life, their adventures are manifested in the grain when you cut it in the lumber. You always wonder what the tree went through and why it did what it did when you're looking at the lumber, but just knowing that there's a story behind it makes it much more interesting. The Konoe chair was really a groundbreaking engineering feat, and my father would not have been able to even conceive of that if he hadn't studied architecture, and that he didn't understand the intrinsic properties of wood. He studied forestry before he went into architecture, so he knew all about wood, and that's reflected in his furniture designs. It's almost instinctive when you have relatives working with you. There's just something special about being able to work with your relatives as well as your friends. I was brought up as an only child. My brother was born about 13 years after me. So my best friends were the guys in the shop. My parents were my bosses when I came to work, and my brother was always around, and we worked together for a few years before he passed away. My grandson Toshi works with us now, and it's just really nice to have him there. I have 6 other grandchildren, but I never see them, but I see him every day. It's lovely. Legacy is what you leave behind. I am not sure what my legacy is going to be. I would hope that it inspires people to continue to use solid wood. We use salvaged wood mostly. It's trees that come down and nobody wants them anymore. We need to preserve the life of trees, for one thing. I mean, rather than just cut them up for firewood, you can select them and make them into lumber and beautiful objects. I think that's the lifeblood of Nakashima's. I'm so grateful to be living here and working here and having this space to work in. But it's a long training process. You know, you start somewhere and then you have to keep going for your entire life. You're never finished. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out Harper's Bazaar Legacy issue, which is out now.